welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Andre Barnwell, and I'm the host for this hour. I'm actually an instructor at FIDM, and I have a great panel for you guys to talk to. We have we have an alumni, we have students from FIDM that are here. They're going to tell you their journey, how they got there, and they're going to be open up for questions for you guys. And so this is really cool. This is really organic. It's really laid back. A lot of you have accepted. You're going to be coming out here to LA, and some of you are interested, and you still might be on, that little edge, like, I'm not sure or not, but I welcome you all into FIDM Nation. And just to share with you, your goals and what you want to do, sky's the limit. You might look at me and you might guess like, okay, well, what does he teach, or how did he get to FIDM? I came to FIDM as a fragrance designer. I put liquid in a bottle, right? And so that's how I started my journey. So if any of you are as crazy as that and you need to find a home, FIDM is the home for you. We've tons of majors I see in the chat. You guys are interested in some majors. I'm just going to pre-warn you now that you might come in here and you might run into something else. You're like, oh my God, I want to do that now. That's the great thing about being in a design school. So we're just going to kind of take you on a journey, and the whole thing here is to be interactive and ask questions. That's what we're here for, and we got a great little panel for you, and I'm going to introduce them to you, and then I'm going to go back, and then they're going to tell each of their stories, and then we're just going to have a very organic conversation. So to my left is Shaylin Byron. To my right, and they're going to do the wave thing, it's Cassandra Skolnick, and to my bottom is the great Christian Duran. So they're part of FIDM Nation. Some are still there, some have moved on, but we want to give you remember, this is career planning. So we want to kind of give you experiences from people that are still doing and then moving forward, so you can kind of see where the goals are. And I've asked them all to kind of think back when they were just seniors graduating from high school and kind of start their journey with you there, because that way they can move forward to what they're doing now. So without further ado, I'm just going to go to each one of them. And so I will start with Shaylin, and Shaylin's going to kind of give you a backstory and her journey. Then I'm going to go to Cassandra. Hopefully my little boxes don't move on me. And then I'm going to go to Christian last. So with that, Shaylin, could you share with FIDM Nation, because that's who they are now, your journey, please?
Sure. Hi, everybody. Andre, thank you so much for moderating, first of all. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
So I'm from New England. I'm from a pretty small town in Rhode Island. I went to a private Catholic school my whole life. It was a really small student body, and it was really hard to express myself creatively. I know it's really hard as a high schooler sometimes to find your tribe. And I had gone in my junior year of high school, I'd gone to a portfolio review day because I was sure I wanted to do fashion design, like corporate fashion design. I was like a Project Runway kid, that was for sure my goal. And I showed some of the people, especially, so I thought I wanted to go to an East Coast school. I never really dreamed about moving across the country. And FIDM had a table at that portfolio review day, and I had shown them, and the people that were reviewing really took the time to look through my portfolio. And one of the faculty there was like, have you ever considered costume design? Your stuff really pivots more towards like narrative-based design. And I remember looking at her being like, that's not a real job. I can't do that for work. Like, there's no way. She was like, I really think you should consider costume design over corporate fashion. You just seem like you have a story you want to tell. And so I came out to the FIDM 3 days of fashion when I was a senior, and I did the little 3-day inclusive, you take classes. And I remember looking at one of the girls, they had a thing where all the students' portfolios are out. And one of the girls had like a Game of Thrones portfolio. I remember being a senior in high school and looking at that Game of Thrones portfolio, being like, this is my dream. I could never imagine like being able to produce like designs like this. She had sewn these beautiful gowns. Her sketching was amazing. Like, I could never get there, but through the 3 days of fashion, they were really encouraging. Like, we promise we will give you the tools here. And I remember when I was doing my final collection so I did 2 degrees at FIDM. I did the fashion design, and then I came back for an advanced associates in costume design for TV and film. And I remember finishing my TV and film collection, and I had this like moment where I looked back on that girl and that portfolio, and I was like, I'm here. This is what I thought in high school, like I could never achieve. And that was like such a inspiring moment, because like, what else can I dream up? What else can I achieve? Because I just proved to myself that like I could do what high school me set out to do. So like, what could college me set out to do, and what could career me set out to do? And so that was a really like inspiring moment. And I know FIDM was a huge part of what gave me those tools and encouraged me when I faltered or fell. Like, it was a really organic transition. You know, there was a lot of challenges, but it was such a clear path. And then right out of FIDM, I started peeing on film sets in the costume department, and day playing. I also designed a lot of independent student commercials, student films, independent features and everything. And from there, transitioning into more studio side projects. 4 years ago, I got on the Avatar sequels, and I've been on since. So I'm currently the virtual costume design assistant on the Avatar sequels.
Oh, excellent, excellent. All right, so I'm gonna come back to you. So I want to go next to Cassandra. Can you share your journey for us, please?
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Cassandra. I am from Southern California. I grew up in Escondido, which is a north county of San Diego. And I graduated from FIDM in 2010, so a very long time ago. It's very hard for me to like put myself back into high school zone, because that was a million years ago. But yeah, I don't even know how I heard about FIDM, to be honest. I think at the time, I really didn't know what I wanted to do, and all my friends were applying for like UC schools and just traditional colleges. And I always knew I was creative. I just didn't know like what type of creative I was, and all those traditional school routes didn't make sense. And so I think I like looked into art schools, and that also didn't make sense. I was like, I don't really belong there. And then somehow I discovered FIDM. I'm pretty sure at the time the show The Hills was really popular, and Lauren Conrad went to FIDM, and it was like at that same time. And I'm like,
I love it.
What's this school?
Right.
That seems more my vibe. I wanted to move to LA anyway. So I'm like, there we go. And yeah, so that's how I ended up at FIDM. I was a makeup, burgeoning makeup artist at the time. And FIDM had a beauty program, which really appealed to me. So I went for my AA in beauty industry, merchandising and marketing, which I think is something different now. And then I went on to get my bachelor's in the business program. And now I'm a designer for Mattel, but in between all that time, I did many different jobs. I did not know like where I was going to go or what I was going to do. So yeah, here I am.
Oh, excellent, excellent. There you go. And no, I'm the old one in this little camp. You guys are youngins, so don't even worry about it. And then last but certainly not least, our friend Christian.
Hi, everyone. My name is Christian. I am a current FIDM student. I'm in my second quarter. I'm getting my associate's degree in merchandising and marketing. I started in October. I moved down to LA. I'm in student housing, doing all of the FIDM things. But I got introduced to FIDM when I was a junior in high school. All through my childhood, I've always been very creative. I got into photography when I was 13. It just kind of stuck with me. I still do it now. Then I opened a lifestyle boutique, and when I was 17, it was kind of like in a transition creatively and as an artist, and I found FIDM, and I was the president of the fashion club, the FIDM Fashion Club at my high school, and then I started working with them. And then I actually got accepted as a 17-year-old, as a junior in the early acceptance program with FIDM. So I knew I was coming to FIDM since I was a junior. I really like how that kind of worked out for me, because all throughout my junior year, I got to focus on my art, got to focus on kind of like defining the details inside of my art and my business to further launch my career when I got to FIDM. Going into working and getting into the industry, all of my professors and instructors are working in the industry right now. It's super helpful and informative to kind of go to class, and if I have a question about a certain thing, be able to go up to them and ask them, and they'll share their wealth of knowledge, or I can email them, go to their office hours. With that, there's also like the FIDM Career Network. So I go to my career coach almost every week at this point, just checking in, making sure all of my resume stuff's all right, cover letters, they'll help you out a ton. If you go in there, I go in there every week, sometimes once every 2 weeks, once a month, just depending on what I'm looking at right there and there. But other than that, I mean, I love FIDM. I love the campus. I love the enriched culture that's happening at FIDM right now. As Mr. Bonwell says, FIDM Nation. He teaches one of my classes right now, but he brings up FIDM Nation at least 3 times a day, and it kind of like, it's a really good community to be in, and kind of just your classmates will be in the industry, and you'll see within the first few months, like people are actually like cultivating the career and they are working in the career. So it's nice to have my the students at FIDM, I could ask them questions too, or the group projects, like we meet and we talk, and I have so many collaborations outside of class creatively that I got through my courses in general. But within coursework, it's super nice. I love it. I love the library. If you guys were here for the campus tour of the library, is where I spend most of my time, because it's super nice to have those textiles and things right there to just touch and feel your fibers, your magazines, and all that. But yeah, it's super fun.
Yeah, and that's why Christian gets good grades in my class, because he's at the library, FIDM Nation. Woo, there you go. So no, this is great. So I'm going to kind of do like a little round robin, and I'm noticing some stuff in the chat. So FIDM Nation, you guys are part of it. Jump in the chat, because I do see something where someone was asking about juniors applying. So I am definitely looking at the chat. But what I do love about you guys as our guests, Shaylin, you give us an out of California experience, out of state. Could you share for our because I'm sure some of our participants are coming, they've chimed in from the Midwest or maybe the East Coast. What is that coming to this place called California? Like, what was the process that you went through, and how did your family support it? Like, what did you do to kind of make that transition from out of state coming to California? And any advice that you might give them, maybe some things that they should check up on, or like how did you make that transition?
Yeah, I mean, I think I never thought I would come out west, at least not that young. But everything about FIDM as a school really lined up. Like, I grew up in Boston and New York, like those are my cities, and LA is not the same ballpark at all in terms of like the energy of the city, the people, everything is so different. So I didn't really have a push to come out here until I started interacting with FIDM. When I came to the 3 days of fashion, I really was just exploring all the fashion schools across the country, and it was so warm, it was so welcoming. And one of the things I loved the most is I was really confident in what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to do costume design, especially after talking to that person, but fashion design, at least for sure, costume design. And FIDM really encourages you to start working on your career the second you get here. As scary as that sounds, like they want you to be out networking, and they'll give you tools to network. And looking at some of the other schools, I really wasn't getting that. Like, they want to teach you, but FIDM wants to teach you and grow your career. And I knew immediately that's what I wanted. And that took precedence for me over like where I wanted to go. And you're totally right. It was so scary coming out here. I don't have family out here. Like, I did it all on my own. I'm an only child. My parents were like, where are you going? Like, it was a big move. But I think my excitement for starting my career trajectory as a career artist, like, that took precedence over everything, and it really like encouraged me to take the challenge. And the first year in LA it's so hard, but there's such a good network of other students here as well. There's so many other kids that are from not only across the country, across the world. And like, so you kind of build a network of people together too. There's a ton of kids from California, from Southern California, so they'll help you with the local stuff, like utilizing your fellow classmates to like, I don't know how to get to the grocery store. Can we Uber together? Can we try the metro together? Like you immediately start picking, like coming together with kids who are in the same boat, and you kind of learn and grow together. It really happened holistically. Like I was so nervous for the transition, but the second you get here and you start in your classes, it really like sweeps you up in it, and you kind of figure out at least I lived in student housing, so like it's kind of its own little world. I lived right across from FIDM, and then you just slowly start branching out and making more connections. And it was a seamless transition when I did it. And I really encourage people, if they're considering, like, definitely you have tools and resources here to help you. Like you're not alone. Like you're not coming out here by yourself. You're going to meet so many people that are going to help you on your way. And that was huge for me.
Excellent. And just to piggyback on that, so and to bring it from, so you're out of state. How did you, I know all of you have a passion for the tool, but how did you connect that passion to the actual major? Like, because we have like over 30 majors. How did you narrow, was there an advisor at FIDM involved in helping you narrow? Like, how did you narrow it down? Because like, once you get here, and all of you can kind of attest, once you're in your major, you are, day one, you are going for it, right? So how did you get it to your particular major? You remember?
Christian, do you know what the advisor is called, that when you like are applying, because you get a different one once you get to FIDM, but there's an advisor that you're assigned when you start applying. Oh,
your admissions advisor?
Admissions
your
advisor.
admission
Thank
advisor.
you.
Yeah.
That word escaped me. With me, at least, I kind of expressed interest, and my admissions advisor laid out a couple of plans, and we're like, if you do fashion design, these are the places you could transition into. But I know so many people who went on to their advanced associates that didn't do an advanced associates they thought they were going to when they started. Like it really, once you get here and your admissions advisor helps you narrow down areas of interest, and then they'll give you pros and cons. At least that's what they did for me, and it really like helps me create a trajectory that I followed. I'm not sure about other panelists if that's kind of similar.
No, that's perfect. And so Cassandra, and for Christian, I want you both to chime in, because even though you're in state, California is a huge state. So can you kind of share, just because culturally Los Angeles, and I'm sure we have participants from different parts of California that are not in the LA metro area. What was that transition like? And again, like with Shaylin, how did you narrow down to, I know you knew what your passions were, but how did you narrow it down to those particular majors?
I think for me, like I had mentioned before, FIDM at the time was one of the only schools I found that had a program that was tailored to beauty. Like a lot of other like fashion schools, it's mostly fashion, or in design schools, it's mostly just general design. So for me at the time, because I was interested in the beauty industry, I was working as a makeup artist. That's kind of what led me to go down that path. But again, like, it's just, yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. Like you can pick like something you're super interested in, but at the same time, like your career will just take you other places. Like I started as a marketing major, but like I said, like I've worked majority the past 10 years as a designer and art director. So yeah, I feel like it's almost better to, I mean, it's good to know what you want to do and set out to do it, but you can also be like open to all the possibilities.
Okay, excellent. And you too, Christian, can you share, please?
Yeah, so I'm from the Sacramento area of California. So my community there is very agricultural rich, farming town. My family are farmers. So going to a fashion school, no one has done it in my family. But what I've known growing up is that I'm really into sales and marketing and kind of getting that trajectory for a brand or public relations, that sort of stuff. So I definitely niching down and finding my merchandising and marketing degree definitely it sparked my interest, and then my admissions advisor told me like, hey, this is what you'd be doing. This is the outcome you can do after you get your associates. You can go up to your bachelor's, just all kinds of stuff like that. There are definitely many inputs coming in. A lot of alumni reached out to me and talked to me from my area, but finding my trajectory in terms of merchandising and marketing, marketing, you could pick two routes. So you're buying, or you can do fashion marketing. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and do fashion marketing because I have like an analytical brain. I could kind of, in terms of like consumers and seeing how all of that breaks down, I'm naturally good at that. But given the option at your in the middle of your quarter is like, you could pick either one. And so that really sparked my interest as well.
Okay, excellent. Okay, so as promised, I was looking in chat, and there was a question. I think Shaylin is responding to it from. I want to say Sarkis. If I'm saying your name wrong, please forgive me. But I wanted to expand that out. So Sarkis was very excited about your costume design journey. Shaylin, can you just broadly share that with the bigger group? Like how did that work? And yeah, I have a little bit of her. It's kind of scrolling on me. I know she said it. Do you remember the other part of her question, Sarkis's question?
Yeah, she was. They were asking about working in live theater, ballet companies, theatrical productions. I fully answered the chat and then realized I said it to the hostessy and not everyone, so I apologize.
No, that's fine. That's what I'm for. That's my little right eyes for. Grab that.
But I know for me specifically, when I was at FIDM, there was two separate majors that you could do an advanced associates in. You could do it in TV and film costume design or in theater costume. So FIDM gets really specific with your career path. I was interested in working on the film side, production side, but I had a lot of friends that were in the theater costume program as well. That's a much more construction-based program. So they're really teaching you how to create costumes. I know a lot of people that I know took that program were cosplayers and they wanted to transition their cosplaying skills into costume design. And it was a very different program from what I did. We learned how to like break down a script, how to budget a film, how to do more conceptual design, which ended up fitting me better on the films that I went on to do, especially now that I'm a virtual costume design assistant. I think the skills that they teach you are very different. So coming into FIDM and knowing you can get that niche and that specific with what career trajectory you're trying to go, if you have an idea, or if you just find something while you're here that you get interested in, like FIDM really allows you to focus on that. And you, in the grander scheme, I know like in the costume design or in the fashion design program, they let you tailor your classes too. So I did most of my fashion design classes, I did it through a costume lens, and that as long as you stay within the ramifications of the specs of the project, they really encourage you to do that. So it was really nice to help you like grow and figure out exactly which direction you wanted to go. But there were definitely two different programs, at least for costume design.
Okay, so what I'm getting from you, Shaylin, is over communicate. Talk to people. Folks, don't be shy about what your passions are, or if there's some kind of, you kind of look at the book and it says, okay, this is the A section, this is the B section, but what you really want is an AB, right? So express that, because you never know how you can always tailor some things, but the school doesn't know unless you share that with them, right? Because we're creative. So don't be shy with that. Thank you for that. Also, I got a note from FIDM. If you guys put your questions in the Q&A, it's easier for me to look at, because the chat, when it scrolls up, I lose it. So if I don't jot it down, so if you saw your question kind of scroll up and you didn't hear me say anything, I'm not trying to ignore you. So if you put it in Q&A, I can see it there. But one of them I did see, and it was from Zoe. And Zoe was asking, and maybe this might be good for Christian. Zoe's asked, she's a junior. And so what should juniors be doing now? Juniors in high school, as they start to develop, and if they have an interest to FIDM. Could you share what you think maybe how a junior would be prepping Because they're going to blink an eye and they're going to be seniors in a hot second.
Yes. So my FIDM journey started with the FIDM Fashion Club. I just went to the meetings once every Wednesday. Then I slowly started getting more interested, and then I became the co-president and then the president. But throughout that, I went on FIDM's website and I looked at their early admissions program, and I put in just my basic details, like your phone number, your email, and your name. And an admissions director reached out to me, and they got me all set up, and I applied within, I think, a week and a half or 2 weeks. And then I got in, I knew, like, I want to say 2 days after that. So it was super easy. It was super swift. I showed my portfolio, all the work that I have accumulated throughout high school. Honestly, any artwork, or if you're into drawing, any drawings you've done. For me, it was my photography and merchandising. So I just sent that, and it was nice, like I said earlier, as a junior, to have that option, because you'll know, and it's nice to know, but I would definitely recommend getting started right now.
Okay. And I'm glad you said that about portfolio. Cassandra, could you take up that? Like, how did the portfolio, what did that mean to you? And I believe all FIDM students still have to do a portfolio. Could you share your portfolio experience? And then I don't want to leave you out with that, Shaylin, too. Can you share that portfolio process, especially with the juniors and seniors in mind who are on the gate, and that's part of their application process?
Yeah, I think the most important thing with any portfolio work is to have a unique point of view. So it doesn't necessarily have to be like the best concept or like a super, innovative project. I think it's just important to have a point of view. And when I say that, I mean like infuse who you are and your personality into it, to give it like more of a creative feel, so that the advisor is getting to know you, the way you think and all that, along with like how you're able to piece together information and present yourself in that same process.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shaylin, too, could you just touch on portfolio, what that meant to you?
Yeah, I think the most important thing I did when I was prepping for my FIDM portfolio was mood boarding. Like, I remember that being the huge start for me. And I think when I applied, they required a mood board, but it's really easy to get overwhelmed. The same as when you're at FIDM in school, it's really easy to get overwhelmed with all the things you need to do, trying to prioritize everything. Like, start with what sparks your inspiration. Like, if you want to sit and scroll on Pinterest for 4 hours until honestly, that's what we do in school. That's what we do in our careers. You have to be inspired first, and it comes, and FIDM will teach you how to interpret those inspirations as they come, but get inspired first. That's why you're interested in FIDM in the first place, is because you're creative, you have something to say, like Cassandra said. So let yourself take an inspiration bath to get started. It really changes your outlook and your perspective, and you're going to see more success when it's something you like.
Okay. I did see something in the Q&A that I could actually answer. Someone asked, do you have to take calculus? And I got 3 witnesses. No. So that calculus that you took in high school, that's the last time you got to take it with us. However, you still, and I want you guys to chime in, what about their analytical skills? Because a lot of times, even though you're creative, you're using software, you're using kind of platforms. Can you guys share? It's not necessarily math, but it's math-ish. What are some of those technical things that you think that they should be dealing with now while they're still in high school? How does Photoshop or Illustrator play in you guys' lives? Or are there any other kind of platforms that they could be, developing or dabbling with now that you think will help them with their career journey? And I'll just go back. I'll just reverse back. I'm gonna go Christian to Cassandra, back to Shaylin, if you don't mind.
Yeah, so I've always, since I started FIDM, being organized and staying on top of everything is my number one priority. So I take advantage of Google Calendar, make sure all of my deadlines are in there. You're going to be taking classes for 10 weeks. So you'll have 10 weeks to get all of your stuff done for the quarter. Deadlines approach quickly. So keeping everything in the Google Calendar, it elevates my learning style in a way. So I know what I need to do for the day, or I plan out my week accordingly. And in terms of Photoshop and Illustrator, I do use those in a lot of my classes. It's just one of the prereqs you have to take with your major. So I use that. What else do I use? I use, like we said, Pinterest, just getting very knowledgeable on all these platforms right now, and getting and creating good habits will definitely use in your advantage once you get to FIDM.
Okay. And again, so for Shaylin and Cassandra, are there any other tools? Because you guys can chime in. You don't have to go like mute. You can just chime in. Are there any other those kind of tools? I know I answered the thing about calculus, so no, we don't have to do calculus, but those analytical tools for their career.
I don't know anything about calculus.
There
so
you go. Okay.
Help anyone with that. But yeah, I mean, everything Christian mentioned is great. I think also looking at like websites, like I Love Creatives. I don't know if you guys have heard of that website, like tailored to creative industries, because there's a lot of like free courses and like stuff like that you can find on those websites that are really helpful to kind of familiarize yourself with like how you'll eventually work later down the line.
Oh, excellent. Okay.
And I think a program that I would really encourage people to learn early, because if I could go back and do FIDM again, this is my biggest thing I wish. InDesign, the Adobe Creative InDesign will change your portfolio. It'll change anything you have to present. Like we learned Illustrator and Photoshop, but if you can start like learning how to do layouts in InDesign, it'll elevate your portfolio. It'll elevate when you have to start doing things for work. I cannot champion InDesign enough. And there's so many students and like so many YouTube videos. Like that's a program you can learn on your own if you have any Creative Cloud knowledge or Creative Suite knowledge. Learn InDesign. It's going to be a huge game changer.
Excellent.
I'm piggybacking off of that just because.
Sure, please.
YouTube is your friend. Like literally 90% of like what I've learned in later years now has been from like me watching YouTube tutorials. So yeah.
Oh, excellent. Excellent. So one of the questions did come in. Now we offer internships while you're at FIDM. We don't offer internships while you're still in high school. So I had a double-edged question, but for those of you, did you guys take advantage of internships, or what was your perspective on internships while you were at FIDM? Did anyone do internships?
I did. It wasn't necessarily an internship through FIDM, but FIDM got me working on other film sets, film school sets while I was at FIDM. So especially in my costume design, but even before that with the career advisors, they were in contact with USC, UCLA, AFI, and they were directly kind of working back and forth. We would provide them, they would help us with our course loads. Like it was really holistic. And so I know FIDM got me linked up with the other film schools, and that was game changing, honestly, with my career, being able to be on those sets that early.
Oh, cool. Okay. Cassandra or Christian, were you able to take advantage of internships?
Yeah, so I go to my career coach every week to get insights on these internships or future jobs, or a lot of companies are right now looking for like stylists for Fashion Week. So taking advantage of the career just networking system at FIDM, it benefits me tremendously.
Yeah, I would say take all the internships you can. I think when I was at FIDM, I definitely did one every quarter. And then 2 of them turned into like actual full-time jobs. So yeah, definitely a champion of internships.
Okay. So there's FIDM Nation, there's a repeating thing that you're starting to see here. All of our guests are very aggressive in really having FIDM work for them, sharing with them, taking advantage of the career section. We have a department on that. So whether it's an internship or part-time jobs or whatever, taking advantage of that, because sometimes referrals are very important in our industry as well. And I can't stress enough, your admissions people are your friends. Even I know sometimes at other schools, admissions people come in, they do the paperwork, and then they go away. At FIDM, your admissions person walks you through everything. That's your best friend. And there's nothing crazy that you could say to them. They can only respond to it. You might have a change, right? A couple of weeks, some of you guys are accepted. You might go to Switzerland for the summer, and the next thing you know, you want to be something else, but then you feel like, well, I've already committed to this major, so I'm gonna go into the fall, when you've experienced something else. So please, 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 if you're a little shy, you don't want to talk to them on the phone, they will accept your text as well. So you can kind of see from our panelists, you have to be aggressive with the things that you want to have so that you can get the proper skills. Because remember, this whole conference that we're having on this topic today is about career. So you're building skills to help you in the end. And what I'm also hearing, sometimes you just have to be prepared for the opportunity. You never know. Well, you might be one major, but you get exposed to, like what Cassandra was saying, you get exposed to something else. So don't worry about the things you can't control. Have passion for the things that you have. Meet like-minded people. It looks like for those of you who are still where you are, do activities where you are. YouTube University is a great place to dabble. And look, you just got a jewel. It's not good enough just to be Illustrator and Photoshop anymore. It's in design. And then you literally can go on. And I know a lot of your schools might have that as a part of their Adobe package. And you know what? Maybe sometimes, as opposed to getting a brand new pair of Jordans, you might hit up the parents with an Adobe package to put on your computer, right? So, and I'm sure they'll love that, because you could just say, well, Mom, Dad, it's for my career. So you put a lot of pressure on them when you do stuff like that, but it's a part of your career journey. So continue to, and I'm scrolling through the Q&A. Now also for my panelists, if you're kind of delayed coming to FIDM, like say you're going to go to a junior college and then come to FIDM, and then also can you guys share the bachelor concept? You have your, FIDM is known for its AA, but we're a 4-year college, but we both of those degrees are still active. Can you share what that transition was when you decided to come back for AA? So, and we can start with whoever just wants to jump in on that. For the community, if someone's at a community college, so let's kind of round robin that one. If someone's at a community college, what kinds of things should they do there in preparation for, say, coming to a FIDM?
One of my classmates in the costume design program, she came from Canada, and she did her community college in Canada for fashion business of fashion, that major. And there's a lot of skills you can learn in other areas, especially at smaller schools like that. Learn the business side of it, or learn layout and design. Take whatever classes are going to be interesting and encouraging to you when you come to, if you're going to come follow a design or a business path. You can take a lot of those core classes there first, and it'll start to get you, it'll teach you your deadlines, it'll teach you how to do your layouts. Like, she was miles ahead of some of us who came at 18, just in her professionalism, in her layout. Like, there's so much you can learn if you want to stay local to start and to gain confidence or money, whatever you need. There's so many ways you can have that help you on your journey. Like, it's a really good idea. And I watched someone who very successfully did that to me, like next to me in class. And like, sometimes they're just blown away by like the miles ahead of us. And FIDM will teach you everything, but it is an easier leg up if you get a start at home. So it's definitely not a deterrent if you want to go do a local school first before you come out here. It's a big step.
Okay. And Cassandra or Christian, do you have some thoughts on that as well too?
I do.
Okay.
During high school, I actually took some college classes at my local community college,
Oh,
and it
okay.
kind of balanced out some of the core classes that I had to take here at FIDM. So it worked in my advantage to go to the community college during high school, just pick up some extra units, and then coming here and then applying that as well.
Okay. Okay. And for those of you uh, that went on to take the 4-year program, can you share what that experience is? And when did you decide? Did some of you come deciding to do 4 years, or you came with 2 and then you were like, you know what, I want to extend out? Do you guys have thoughts on, is it okay to still come kind of like undecided and then make that step? What is your thought process on doing the 4-year program?
I think it's definitely like, for me personally, I came in knowing I was going to do the 2-year program. I was set on that. But then like being there at FIDM and like with my other peers, a lot of us all went on to do the bachelor program because it just made sense. And it's a good idea if you can do it. Like, I think it's beneficial to do the full 4 years if you can. But yeah, I think it's a personal decision. It also depends like where you're trying to go career wise, it just depends.
Okay, excellent. I did want to say, I see Shelby in the Q&A. Shelby's in your 30s. Creativity has no age. You can kind of see I got gray. So you're 30, and so I'm much older than you. So no, you start when you start. You know what I mean? That's the beauty of being at a design school. Life comes in, you got different kind of experiences, but all of that works. So no, that is definitely not that doesn't matter. It's your passion, as you can kind of see here. And also, I just wanted to acknowledge, and please, and if I apologize if I say your name wrong, but I want to say it's Banji, but Banji is coming to us from South Africa. So welcome. We actually have a sister. We have a relationship with FIDM in South Africa. So we have a sisters, kind of like a sister college there that we deal with. So welcome to FIDM Nation. So yes, it's amazing where everyone is. So keep having those things in the Q&A as I'm kind of addressing it. But a lot of it, and I want to say it's Shay. Shay, does anyone have any insight on or have classmates who might have taken interior design as one of those? Does anyone have a perspective on interior design? I know InDesign is as close to design that I saw, but our panels are very specific. But I don't know if any of you have any
I know when I was in school for debut, chairing styles was huge. It was a big collaborative part of school. I didn't participate in it personally, but I had a lot of classmates that did, and they got to work really closely with the interior design program. I would encourage you to watch some of those chairing style debut runways, because they will also go into more detail. But the school's resources are really unparalleled. So I know that the kids that are in interior design get a lot of resources I didn't see in a lot of the other schools when I was touring. They have a lot of connections with really good furniture designers in LA. There's really good interior design houses. My roommate, my first year, she was in visual merchandising, sorry. And she's an interior designer now. So she was able to take that degree, and now she owns her own interior design firm in Boston. So a lot of the programs are applicable to a lot of other career goals. I know Cassandra could speak to that as well. So not only is the program really good, but it's also an area I know you can transition to from some of the other majors as well.
Okay. Now this just might sound a little corny, but this is for FIDM Nation. Remember, I kind of mentioned to you, we have over 30 majors. So my suggestion to all of you that are chiming in is go to fidm.edu. Go to fidm.edu. Click on at the top. click on majors. There's so many of them. And then, when you're just kind of tired of the junk that's on TV, or, just depressing stuff, because depressing stuff and creative people, that just doesn't match. So I try to minimize my news coverage, because I'm like, I feel like I just can't do anything. I eat peanut butter, I'll die. I breathe the air, I'll die. So I just stay away from that. So go to fidm.edu, click onto the majors, and look at all of the majors. There's little videos on them, and also go to the admissions section. It'll tell you about the portfolio. Our website has a lot of great information to it. And then on top of all of that, please, hit up the school, whether it's by text or by phone, and start that admissions process, meaning an advisor, so you can have that conversation. They will text you back and forth. But that would be my first initial homework, because you just never know until you know, right? I didn't know what an apparel management, I didn't even know what that label meant, right? Because I'm from Pennsylvania. So, when you were alluding to coming here, when you're in Pennsylvania, you think fashion in New York, right? But I hate to say this, but this is just real talk, and I know you appreciate real talk. I wanted to go somewhere where it was warm. I was tired of freezing my butt off in Pennsylvania. I wanted to get under a tree, under a palm tree, and I wanted it to be warm. I don't know. It's just when it's warm outside, I'm just creative. I don't know if that's just me, but when I go home for the holidays, I love my family to death. But I'm just cold. And then when I come back to LA, I'm like, yeah, I could do this, I could do that. So again, all of these kind of creative things, but please go to the website, look at all of the majors there. It's going to take you more time, and don't do it like a homework assignment. Have fun with it. There's some videos up there. There's some clips up there. Just take your time with it. When you're at school and your teachers, they allow you to go to the library, and you'll never get in trouble at school if you're in the library and you say, I'm doing some research at a school that I'm interested in. I mean, who can yell at you for that, right? So, and we got great clips up there, videos, the chairing styles up there. They'll put up the old fashion shows. A lot of fun activities. So that was sort of like a theme that I saw kind of like in the Q&A as well too. So yeah, it's too much to go through all of those in this, but you're getting a real kind of touch. But for all of them, if you're unsure of what you're interested in, or you took a major, but you never know. Somebody was mentioning like merchandise marketing and merchandise product development. They're really close, but when you dig inside, there's normally something in one and the other. Merchandise marketing has a little bit more of a business kind of a mindset to it. Product is a little more touchy-feely. So, but those little nuances matter. The world of costuming. Well, I noticed a lot of people in the Q&A want to do fashion, but fashion has different worlds, right? Shaylin costume, she's up there with the Avatar people, right? So that's a whole different place. Some of you guys might want to be more streetwear design. It's still in the umbrella of fashion. It's all fashion. Christian messing around, he could get into fashion, but he starts in merchandise marketing. What Cassandra was mentioning. So you just never know what things will lead to you, but you got those basic building stones. One of the other things I did want to mention to you at panelists as well too. One of the other questions was, how important is English and communication to your particular careers? And that's for everyone. So learning how to communicate, learning basic English, like could you walk them through that part of what is required? And anyone could just kind of chime in. So like, how important is English and as far as communicating to your clients and in the industry? Like, for some of them, they might want to, they need to do a proper resume, when you do internships. Can any of you kind of share some of your experience in that area? I see Cassandra. Can you chime in, please?
Yeah, I mean, it probably goes without saying, but if you're going to work and live in the US, you got to speak English very well. I think it's just how the US is. But yeah, I mean, it's very important. I think it's like something that gets overlooked a lot, but communication's huge, especially like in dealing with people every day in professional settings. Like I'm emailing people all day, every day. And it's really important to have correct grammar, especially if you're working in like a corporate setting. I've worked both in like, you know, less corporate settings. And right now I'm working at Mattel, which is a super corporate setting, and people notice things like that. So you
Okay.
got to be like careful about it.
Oh, excellent. Okay. Okay. Here's one for you that was interesting. This comes from Linda. Why FIDM over schools that are similar? How did you make that like why FIDM as opposed to like say on the East Coast? I only knew about FIT because I'm from Pennsylvania. So what were your last like kind of choices, and then what made you go with FIDM? And that's for everyone.
I know I really was considering the New York schools. I'd never even considered the West Coast schools really.
Okay.
But FIDM had the East Coast schools are usually a 4-year. They don't really offer 2-year programs.
Okay.
And they really focus, the fashion schools I was looking at least really focused on like letting you explore the art world for your first 2 years. And most of them you couldn't declare your major until the start of your 3rd year. And for someone who knew what they wanted, I didn't really want to spend that much time or money exploring the art world. I knew I wanted to be in fashion. I knew I wanted to be in costumes. And so FIDM was not only significantly cheaper than those schools with the same, if not more resources, but it was also significantly less time. And that was really important to me. And then when I looked into the programs more, they let you set up your schedule so that you can be working and in school. I know, especially for the advanced program, it's only 2 days a week. You're a full-time student, but it's 2 days a week. And that was huge for helping me get started as early as I did in my career. And so FIDM really sets you up to be career and school focused at the same time. And that was something that was really important to me. And logistically, half the time, half the money, like it really was the right choice. And the amount of time I saved by going to FIDM has helped me get as far ahead as I am now at the age I'm at. So that was, I know that was huge.
Oh, cool. Cassandra, could you share? Like what was your tipping point?
I mean, very similar to what Shaylin said. I definitely, for me, it came down to time and cost, which I think is like a huge factor for a lot of people. I didn't get the luxury of just being a full-time student. That was not a reality for me. I had to work while I was in school. So yeah, that was a big driver of my decision because FIDM has that flexibility. Yeah, it's super important.
Oh, excellent. Okay. And Christian?
Yeah, I would definitely say flexibility is the main thing. Right now, I'm only going to classes 2 days, and then I take on my 3rd day, I only have 1 class. So that gives me options to get a job, internships, travel, things like that for sure. But in terms of looking at other colleges, I was looking more at UCs and state schools. The big difference for me was the immersement in your industry already. I didn't want to go to school and wait, like you guys were saying, 4 years or 3 years and then declare on my 3rd year. And I already knew what I wanted to do. So it kind of weighed out in a way of I get my own schedule. I get to utilize FIDM and its facilities and a close network of students and faculty. And then also the being in your career once you start, it's amazing.
Wow. Okay. Okay. So here's a great ending one. So Shelby, how do you juggle working and school? How do you juggle working and school? So that's going to be our last one, and that's for everyone. Can everyone kind of chime in on what that kind of experience is? Because I think a lot of our students they will be doing that. And let's start with Christian, and we'll go, and then we're going to go up the other way. Thanks, Christian.
I would definitely say the flexibility with your schedule offers vast opportunities for you to get work done. Go to the library. The library is open until 8 p.m. And your most classes get over at 6:15. So after my 6:15, I go to the library until 8, get my homework done, get stuff done. And then on my off days, I can go either to the library or to the student lounge or a coffee shop in downtown LA and sit down and get my work done. It works for me because like I said, I take 2 classes or 2 days of full classes and then 1 day of I just have 1 class. So usually that 1 day that I have 1 class, I go to campus and I just get all my work done for the week. So it works out for
excellent.
me.
Okay. So Christian is screaming time management, FIDM Nation, time management, right? So Cassandra, could you share as well too, please?
Yeah, I mean, it was a long time ago for me, but yeah, it was crazy. I don't think I could do it now. Like I can barely handle the one job I have in life. But yeah, it just takes being organized and managing your time,
Organized.
you know, like, yeah, I think at one point I had like 2 jobs and school. It was crazy. I just didn't sleep. It's fine.
Right. Oh, see, when you're young, see, there you go.
Yeah, it's fine.
Thank you. And Shaylin, please.
Yeah, when I was at FIDM, I was working retail and I was on sets all the time and I was in class. And
Wow,
it really is about prioritizing what's most important, what needs to get done, what is it okay to let go of a little bit? Like you don't have to, you'll learn really quickly. And I think that skill and juggling that many things helps so much when you get into your career, because you have that ability to multitask, which FIDM sets you up for really well. It's really difficult at the beginning and it's really stressful. And like Cassandra and Christian said, you won't sleep a lot of weeks, but some Red Bull and some like inspiration, you're going to get through it and you're going to learn a lot on the other side of it. So,
oh, excellent. Thank you so much. So thank you to the panelists. We have an additional series that's coming up. So remember, this series was just about career and career planning, but our next event, designing your college experience, is gonna, so this is gonna be more about, and we tapped on it just a little bit today, but this is gonna be really about the culture, the lifestyle, the living in the area. We were really gonna focus in on some of the social things that you need to be prepared for in the next panel. So I'm so thankful for our panelists. So for Shaylin and for Christian and for Cassandra, thank you so much for a part of this and answering our questions and I'm gonna see you guys. So now you guys in the chat, you see what I look like. So I'm gonna see you guys on campus and you can just tap me on my little bald head and say, hi, Mr. Barnwell. I saw you in a webinar. So I'm looking forward for you guys to start your career. It's a great journey. Yes, we work hard, we play hard, but it's gonna be very fulfilling for you guys. And just know you're not out there by yourself. So thank you.